I think personally for me, I'm going through that stage where I am realizing that there's a certain level of expertise that is needed in certain things. And as much as we might have been scaling through in the past, you get to a certain point where you just can't scale through anymore. I think at the beginning, a lot of the time, we assume that everything, or we're either scared of everything that we do not quite know yet. But then when you get advanced into your process a little bit, I think there's a lot of discovery to be had about what your strengths and weaknesses are. Even in the things that you find to be your strength, you will discover at times that even within your strengths, there'll be certain weaknesses. I think personally for me, I'm going through that stage where I am realizing that there's a certain level of expertise that is needed in certain things. And as much as we might have been scaling through in the past, you get to a certain point where you just can't scale through anymore. There has to be a point where you have to realize, okay, this thing I've been doing has been okay, but we now need to graduate from just okay to maybe perfect is the wrong word, but pretty much perfection. We need to get to the point where we now reach a standard that is the standard that you're aspiring to be. And within that process, you have to know and come to terms with the fact that you're going to have weaknesses. And now it's just a case of identifying what those weaknesses are and being very intentional about it, and then seeking the experts to help you in those specific areas. Those are specialized areas. That is where we are. That's the process we're trying to go through at the moment. And it's painful. It's incredibly painful because it requires you to be incredibly honest with yourself. It requires you to look very closely within your processes, the way in which you do business, your talent pool, your staff, your technicians, the techniques that you use in your processes. A lot of those things really need to pay very, very close attention to, almost with a magnifying glass, and say, okay, we've been scaling through and managing this, but we can no longer just keep managing these things anymore. Now it's a case of, listen, we need to step it up, or we just accept that, you know what, we're never going to grow. And I'm certainly not going to accept that we're not going to grow. We have to grow. We must grow. I'm in this for the growth. So I think that's where we are at the moment. Really just being honest with ourselves and say, you know what, we do have these weaknesses, and it's high time that we really look inwardly and really try our best to get the expert hands and the expert skills that we really need in order to scale that process and to go to the next level. And that we're not doing that here. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So yes, that's basically what I have to say on that. Know your weaknesses, and knowing and actioning a plan to get the expertise that you need in order for you to grow exponentially. I think my tip of the day today really is get comfortable with being honest with yourself. It's painful. It can be quite I think it's very easy to get it wrong, where people want to sort of, they think being honest with themselves and being completely brutally honest with themselves is a form of sort of victimization. You're victimizing yourself. Yes, we understand that nothing would ever be perfect. We're not looking for perfection as much as we are looking for steady growth, steady improvements. But at the same time, it's okay to say we're not good enough. It's okay to say we're not quite there yet, but you don't stop there. After you've admitted that to yourself, it's now a case of, okay, what do we need to do to ensure that we are good enough and we are going to get there? And then going through that painful process of dissecting it and then taking one step at a time. Not beating yourself up, that's not what I'm saying. It's just, my tip is, be brutally honest with yourself, because if you're not brutally honest with yourself, I assure you life will be brutally honest with you. And it's a lot more painful when life is brutally honest with you, as opposed to when you're honest with yourself. So in business, it's hard, it's harsh, it's painful, but in all of that, you must learn to be honest with yourself. I think today is one of those days we've had to be honest with ourselves. So the question now is, after the honesty has come, what's our next step?